G'day, it's your old mate Matthew here. Welcome to the Yarnsman podcast. In this episode, well, I have a good yarn with myself. We've recorded 49 episodes. Well, this will be the 50th one. And I want to do a bit of a recap on the themes, takeaways from these yarns. It's also a time for us to pause and reassess and learn from our podcasts. I'll be completely honest, it's been really hard to keep up over the last sort of 4 months since going through my injury and all the mental and physical challenges of that. I think one of the key things going forward is that all the yarns we want to break the taboo. We want to be able to warm people up. And we also don't want people to feel like they have to be struggling with something to have a good yarn. And, there's a journey to go on with that. Keeping with tradition, I will ask myself the 4 questions or answer the 4 questions. So here we go. What have I struggled with in the last week? This is a really interesting one. I could probably extend that out to the last few weeks. The whole concept of connection and belonging, and being able or trying to be able to do that when you're not firing on all cylinders. I had a real revelation with the psychologist last week that not all connections need to be the gold standard. I have some fantastic family and friends all around the world, and I crave for that connection in person all the time. However, that's not realistic, and people who you've grown up with and gone through a whole lot of things with, you're going to have that really strong connection because you've been through all those things together. And that doesn't need to be the same with everyone you meet and interact with. And that's been a real thing for me to ponder. What do I want to work on in the next week? Well, I think it's finding things where I'm not the one leading or trying to create connection, where I can just go and be me. And do something I enjoy. Well, a lot of the things that I enjoy are physical, tennis, running, and what have you, and I can't do those at the moment. So what's something that I can do where, again, I'm not trying to be the extreme extrovert and run things, and so that's going to be something to work on. What am I grateful for? That's a good question. I'm grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful for all the people that have looked after me and checked in on me in whatever state or shape, state or form, or whatever those words are, over the last few months, and have, that we've really had time to connect with, and there's probably too many people to name in that space. And I'm grateful to the people that have helped keep me and the Yarnsman going. Of course, I've got to probably have a massive shout out to my wife, who's physically and mentally and all those things kept me in the household running. So those are really big things. What gives me meaning? Well, there's a big question. I mean, for me, it is that genuine connection and belonging, and being able to help people get to that. I do really enjoy helping people in some way, shape or form to get that connection and to be seen, valued and heard. And I think that's what we all need, not just working age males. Well, it's really hard answering those questions actually by yourself, and it's good to do it because they've evolved over the course of the last year. But anyway, we're going to jump into the theme. So the first one that came out was be straight up with yourself. The takeaway being that real strength is about being honest, even when you're struggling, or especially when you're struggling. Trying to keep it all together can actually keep you stuck. Most guys we spoke to said opening up, even just once, changed how others showed up for them. You don't have to share everything, just being real, pull that wall down, pull the veneer down and open up and be real. Number 2, good blokes stick around. The takeaway being that the best connections don't always have to be deep and meaningful. They can be regular, real check-ins. Having someone who checks in on you and you check in on them is equally as important as the big yarns. I like to think of these as the emergency contacts. The research shows that we should aim for 5 close connections, whether regular check-ins or the deep and meaningful. The key here is really being seen, valued and heard. One way of doing this is doing something side by side, shoulder to shoulder, a walk, a run, a barbecue, a cold dip. I don't know who's doing the cold dip. Oh, that's your ice baths. Really, doing that activity does make it easier to open up a shared experience. You don't have to have heaps of mates, just a few who really get you, that you connect with. Number 3, find out what really matters. The takeaway being, if you're chasing things that don't fill your tank, your cup, you'll burn out. A lot of guys said they hit a wall with work stress, divorce, injury, and had to reset. Purpose came from doing what aligned with their values, not just what paid the bills. Slowing down helped them to see what was worth speeding up for. The question I've become fascinated with is, who were you before the world got its hands on you? And I think that's a great question for guys to ask themselves when going through the different stages, the different challenges in life. Number 4, get to know your inner noise. The takeaway being, you can't fix your way to peace or happiness or contentment, but you can learn to live with the hard stuff. Anxiety, anger, overthinking, they're all common. They're not personal failures. Blokes who got help, whether it be from therapy or journaling or meditation, etc., learn the tools to manage their mind. The goal isn't to have it all sorted. It's to understand yourself better. And when we look at this stuff, it's dynamic. It's not static. It's not one point in time. And being aware and comfortable with that, well, not necessarily comfortable, but being aware of it and being prepared to manage it is a key part of that. Number 5 was to be present at home. The takeaway being, your kids and partner want you, not just your time and money. A lot of blokes talked about guilt, distraction, or just feeling like they weren't doing enough. The shift came when they started being truly present, listening, playing, showing up. Modelling honesty and calm for your kids is one of the most powerful things you can do. Taking this a step further, one of the strong themes that came out for me was around being grateful. A couple of speakers talked about, their ways of being grateful, whether before they go home or talking about what they were grateful for in their day over dinner, and that's something that I've tried to implement in my own life. Hard stuff grows you. The takeaway being, the biggest setbacks often lead to the best breakthroughs. Grief, failure, injury, burnout. These aren't the end. They were turning points. What hurt most often revealed what mattered most. Talking about it gave the pain meaning and helped someone else. Shit, for me, through the last few months, this has been an interesting one. Even for a lot of the stuff that trying to practice what I preach has led to me having some real breakthroughs in who I am, what I'm about, and where I want to spend my time going forward. Number 7, keep turning up. The takeaway being, feeling better doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. Getting to the gym, setting an early alarm, calling a mate, small habits build momentum. Motivation came after the action, not before it. No one had it all sorted, but they kept turning up. Yeah, well, I guess you could say recording 50 podcast episodes was keep turning up. And there's so many examples of that. And having someone to do it with does really make that easier. I think one of the speakers, Grant Walker, talked about the hardest thing about going running is putting your kit on. So setting that up on the stairs in the morning is one way of doing that. Number 8, and the final one, you've got something to offer. The key takeaway is you don't need a title to lead, just be willing to help. Whether it is checking in on a mate, running an event, or helping your community, it all counts. Well, and you can help the Yarnsman community too, that would be a big bonus. Supporting others gave men a sense of purpose, especially when they didn't feel like they had one. Community and that sense of belonging is such a huge thing about our well-being and fundamental to our hierarchy of needs. Leadership isn't just about being the one who's willing to go first. And that's really what it's about for me. I'd love the Yarnsman to grow bigger than just me, although I think it has, and it is continuing to, and we'll still try and tip all the fuel on the fire for that to get that momentum. And to finish with our feedback, I want to thank you for listening to all the episodes so far. And, I'm excited for the next phase and keep watching the space. But thank you very much.